Guys, thank you once again for tuning into my channel. Today I want to talk about information asymmetry as a great differentiator. And you might ask, what is the context for great differentiator? Where, how, or why? Where? The context is okay, it can be in very many areas, but my particular context is in the business game or in money making or for businessmen. Let me say, like, let's say in the world of money making, or when we're talking about making money, information. First of all, I believe that information is currency, and that's no more true. Like, it's not, like, it's very true in the game of finance, the game of business. Information is a currency. Now, I've brought a term, information asymmetry. Information asymmetry basically is the differences between, or let's say, in an imbalance between, or in the knowledge of information between, like, different groups of people. So this, let's just say an imbalance, right? If there was a balance, then we say there's no information asymmetry, or information is symmetric. But information asymmetry is the case where people have information that other people don't have, and this particular information is very exploitable, or it's very that's why it's mostly used, very exploitable, and very has very many benefits to those who have the information. So in the world of business, information asymmetry will exist in the case of, let's say, of, let's say I'm looking for a business opportunity. I know something about this business opportunity, some people don't know about this business opportunity. So there, in that sense, information asymmetry already exists. Of course, it can't be the case that you alone know the, the information. But if there's a very disproportionate amount of people who know between, I mean, there's a very disproportionate, uh, um, let's say, amount of people who know, like, there's a disproportion in the amount of people who know versus those who don't know about this information, then information asymmetry exists. So that makes an opportunity very, very lucrative. In this sense, like, that's what makes an opportunity that lucrative. If, first of all, there's of course there's demand, there's the economic laws of supply and demand, particularly demand. If there's high demand for this particular product and an opportunity, now that exists an opportunity. Demand brings an opportunity, or demand makes for a business opportunity. Now, when I know about a particular way to realize this opportunity, or to exploit this opportunity, and there is a very small number of people who know how to exploit this opportunity versus those who don't know, then there's information asymmetry in that sense. Let me just paint a picture of the world of finance and how it exists, and then we continue and finish with information asymmetry in business. So in the world of finance, information asymmetry exists in the sense that of certain actions that are about to happen in the market. Um, um, this is this is where insider trading usually happens. Uh, particularly in finance, the term information is currency. It's very, very true. You know, um, I know of actions that are about to happen in the market. I act before the general public knows about this information. When the information is released, the prices correct or adjust to reflect the embedding of the new information. And if I did that move earlier, or I made a move on that particular, um, let's say, commodity, whatever asset earlier, I benefit from the upside of the lots of moment compared to the other public. You see, the general public might act on the information once it's already priced and the prices have already changed. So they might actually be getting in action, or making action when it's too late, when the information has already adjusted the prices. So yeah, that's the way it exists in the world of finance. Um, even outside insider trading, it doesn't have to be insider trading. Generally, if somebody knows something that the general public doesn't know, and they know that it's significant enough to move the markets very, very widely, or to a great amount, then they act on it. They've used the advantage of information asymmetry. They know something that the general information doesn't know, and they have the benefits. In business, as okay, now that's the world of finance, but let's go back to business. In business, as I said, opportunities, that's where information asymmetry would exist. Information asymmetry also produces a certain thing in business, but I won't talk about it now. Actually, it exists in both business and finance, but I won't talk about it now. Right now, I want to talk. I'll just mention it. Information asymmetry brings the opportunity, an opportunity called arbitrage. Arbitrage, I'll explain that in a later video. But for now, just know that yeah, it's a very significant thing in business. It provides very interesting opportunities. But yeah, just understand that information asymmetry is a very great differentiator in business, in the markets, in yeah, in how you go about or how people go about their affairs in business and finance. Because you see, what makes it's not smartness. It's not, trust me, it's not smartness. You can be the smartest guy in the markets, but if you're not quick, first of all, if you're not quick to take on opportunities, and if you're not um, have the current information that is significant, you know, information, the relevance of information can change anytime. Um, so if you don't have the most relevant information at the time, trust me, even people who are very way and have very little understanding compared to yours can. The only advantage you might pose just from being smart might be that you can connect the dots very fast and very quickly as and when you presented the information. But the fact that you don't have the information can mean you are disadvantaged just by that. So information asymmetry is a very great feature of a very interesting and great feature of markets. It's a great differentiator in my view. People who know what is going to happen will beat those who don't know what's going to happen, because they'll first of all act on the information as and when they know it. And when they act on the information, they'll take the benefits that come with knowing the information early, and as at that, they will benefit. So the benefits generally come to those who know how to find information and quickly act on the information, and take profit, or take the benefits, or take the rewards from exploiting that information. Yeah, so that's it. As I've said, and I think it doesn't just play in business and finance. I think it plays also in the general public. Let's talk about the general public. I think the difference between rich and poor sometimes is not the capabilities. It's more information asymmetry. You know, they know the things that, let me put in quotes, matter. They know the things that matter, and they act on the things that matter. And when they act on the things that matter, they get the rewards from the things that matter. So that's why I use the word differentiator. And I've said it's the great differentiator, because I think it does a lot in um, the how it affects people's lives. And in business and finance, it's a very very great uh, differentiate, especially finance. You know, whatever I'm talking about is very very true for finance. In business, yes, still true, but very true for finance. Yeah, but when I talk about finance is very broad, but when I talk about finance, I'm very particularly talking about the financial markets, the financial capital markets, the money markets, all of it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, because there's many players, and there's players on different sides, and collectively they all pull and push on the markets in certain ways, and information is the main thing, the main catalysts of the movements um, in that market. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. Information asymmetry is the great differentiator. I hope you've learned something, and see you next time. Cheers.